Hello, my name is Lorraine and I work in North Peverton Library in North Peverton. Nice to see you today. If you recall from my last video, I spoke about doing a Be Bold scarf pattern. So also I was talking to a few people and they actually said it would be really nice to show how you can start sort of cast on and perhaps do some stitches as well. So because not everybody knows how to knit. Some people are beginners. Some people don't realise actually if you a lot of knitting is combining purl and knit together. So I just want to show the sort of start off of a knitting pattern. I thought perhaps people would like to follow me. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is the Be Bold pattern, which is from the magazine Molly's Makes, which is on the Libraries West website. So I had a quick read of the pattern this afternoon. So basically, it did actually say it was 12mm needles. And well, there's my 12mm needles. Okay, they're huge. I've got bigger. And those are my 6mm needles. See the difference? I find quite large needles a little bit difficult to handle when I'm knitting, and I tend to drop more stitches and my tension for some reason is tighter. So I actually prefer the 6mm. It's preference, okay? So you can decide what you would like to do. So I think the actual wool you're supposed to use is probably a chunkier wool. However, I don't have many chunkier wools in lots of different colours. I've got a lot of 4-ply, and if it's what you've got in your box to use, then just use what you've got, and you can make it any colours, have any colours you like, any colour combination. But the important thing is you're getting the exercise, you're achieving something. It's something that's it's something you're going to end up with, and it's a distraction from what's going on as well. And I think crafting is very therapeutic actually. So there you go. There's my needles. So to start off with, you need to, okay, just do a little light loop, okay, and then just thread it onto your needle like so. Okay, just tighten it, not too tight. Okay, just enough that you can get a needle in. See? So you slide it in from the back. You make sure you've got hold of this one and you just tuck it around, because quite often it gets in with the knitting and it can be really confusing. Okay, so you get this, you've got this one in your right hand or left hand, depending on which way you like to knit, and you just take it around to the back. And this is actually a knit stitch, but people do tend to cast on this way. Okay, well I do. I might just be different. So there you go. So round, click, pull down, pull through. Okay. All right. And I will add that actually it's important that you don't make your cast on stitches too loose or too tight, because it will actually impact on what your knitting looks like in the end. So there you go. Okay, and you slip it on. So that needle, tuck in there, okay, and then hold the 2 needles between the 3 fingers, okay, round, click, down, through, over. Okay, right, so far I've done that many. So in, around, oopsie, round, down, over. You need to cast on 20 stitches. Okay, so like that, through, over. And this particular stitch that I'm doing is a knit stitch, so I need to do, it will end up being a garter stitch as part of the scarf. Okay, and make sure when you put your needle through that you also don't split the fibres of the wool, because it's easy to make another stitch that way. Yes, so it just occurred to me that actually people might cast on and then they probably say to themselves, where am I supposed to go from there? So what you do is that you go into there. Okay, I've got 20 stitches on my needle. okay, and you pull it through and you take that one off like that. So there's your first stitch. Okay, so I'll do it again, in like that, same as I did when I was casting on, like that. I'm not a quick knitter, but I get there in the end. Right, the pattern has asked for a different colour change now, and I don't ever tie the two walls together until I've kind of finished that line, because you can quite often actually end up with the knot actually being part of this, and I don't like that. I'm not so anyway, I cast on like this. So remember that you're going to have to keep an eye on that piece of wool and that bit of wool. It's a little bit of juggling, so my advice to you is just don't make it too long. Okay, so here goes. So you need to do a knit. So the pattern's asked for a knit to go across. So what I do is when it's gone across like that, I just kind of just tighten it up slightly. You see it? It's in there. So I've chosen this really nice pink. So keeping those two tails away, and that one, the other one's still attached. So I'm just going to snip it off. There you go. Right, so and like that. And this is the start of the next colour, or the colour change, and it's asked for this one to be done in knit to join to the next piece of knitting. Okay, I actually do prefer the metal needles. I don't know why. I think it's because they're cooler. So 20 stitches, knitting stitches, isn't too bad on a knitting needle actually. You wait until you've got like 100 stitches, then you'd need along the next length up on the knitting needle to do that. Right, okay, so we're across there now. Okay. So at this stage, it's best to just tighten these up slightly. Okay. And so it's asking for stocking stitch now, so I'll get on with that and then I'll get back to you. Okay, when you do the purl, instead of going in that way on the needle, okay, you need to go in that way. Okay, so I will get back to you as soon as I finish that bit. Hi, I'm back again. This is how much I've done. So I'm doing knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. Okay, so there you go. So this one is a purl stitch. So as you can see it going around like so. Okay, and then what you do is when you do the knit stitch, you need to bring the wool behind the needle like so, because else you'll just kind of knit over the wool, which will just create quite a mess. So then to do the purl, you bring the wool forward, okay, and then around the needle and then through. So to do the knit, right ahead of me like that, okay, round, ring and off onto the next needle. So round, okay, to there, round. Yeah. And you can build up quite a speed after a while. Well, I've been doing it a few years, but even I get a little bit muddled. And I dropped a stitch yesterday and I picked another stitch up just on the end. I looked through my knitting and I couldn't find where I dropped the stitch, so it may have been an end one that I dropped the stitch on. Okay, so what I've also done is I've added an extra colour after doing the stripy effect. I've put another colour in, So I'm just trying to kind of jazz it up a little bit more. So there you go. And I'll get back to you when I've done a bit more. Okay. What I've done, I've cast on 8 stitches onto my bigger needles because I thought that actually I decided that I'd show you how to cast off. I thought with the bigger needles it might actually be easier for some people to see what I'm doing. So I have actually cast off on the scarf now, and I'm working on some pom-poms, which I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on once I've worked out how to use the little gadget. I've done one, as you can see, and that's going to go on to the end there, and I'm going to coordinate a couple of colours into it. So casting off. Right, okay. So this needle in your right hand, okay, put it in behind as you're going to do a knit stitch, okay, and this is how I cast off. Okay, go around that needle like that, okay, bring it through, and then you've got that stitch on that needle. So then you bring it to the back again, okay, bring it round, and then you stitch it on like that. So then you bring that one over and you lift that one off from the back. I mean, it's a bit fiddly because they're quite loose stitches. Okay, like so. There you go, that's one cast off. So then you do it again, you see, right, round there like so, and then lift off. Okay, and then the next one. Okay, like that. Now actually it's quite neat, the stitch lays quite nicely. I used to cast it off another way and I don't know, just never seemed to look very tidy. So bring to the back, take over the front and lift off. Okay, so in through, round, okay, click, and bring. These are very cumbersome, these knitting needles, but you can see a little bit more. See what I'm doing? See? Okay, then bring it to the back again, slip it in, bring that one around, okay, and then click it in, then you got your 2 on the end, okay, and then bring that one in like so, and over that one, okay, and then go in again like that, and you just tighten that up slightly, okay, right. There you go, and then that, round, on, oops, and bring that one over, and you're left with 1 stitch on the loop, on your work really, and then loop, just sort of bring it in a little bit, tighten it off a little bit, and then get your scissors. I always make my little tail a little bit too short, so I advise to always cut a little bit more just in case you need to use that to stitch into your work later on, because sometimes if you have pieces you might want a tail that you can just like take down the work and save you having to have lots of different bits of wool tucked in and around then. So I would go about there because I don't need a huge amount. There you go, and then you just push it through like so, and then pull. It's going to look a little bit loopy anyway because this is large needle sort of type work and it is very loose, but I think you get the sort of the idea. Right, so the pom-pom maker, I mean, you can use a couple of pieces of card, and this is actually quite easy. It's two pieces on this pom-pom maker. Okay, they've also got a little gate as well, which I take off because I find it a little bit fiddly. I'd rather put them on at the end. So what you do, see those little holes and those little dimples there? You've got to match the two together like so, and they're flat. It's a little bit tricky. Okay, so once you start putting the wool around anyway, they kind of settle in to each other a little bit more. So you get a bit of, I've got 2 sort of contrasting colours, a light and a dark. So just bring it up like that. any sort of bits that sort of poke out or you're not happy with, you can always just kind of trim them off. I do a lot of trimming with my pom-poms to get them right. Okay. Go, go, go. Just keep going round, round, around, 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 around. Careful with these that you don't go over the edges, because you end up with extra long pieces, because I've done that a couple of times. Right, so yeah, there you go. Got one there. So just tighten it. These are only really going to be really, really small pom-poms anyway, so don't take much. There you go, that one's done. That's held that together. Right, and trim it off. Okay, right, next colour. Okay. Round like so. Okay, and get moving. It looks actually lighter colour on the little pom-pom maker. And you just need a slight little bulge. You don't need them to be massive. It's only a tiny little scarf anyway. It's more of a sample than anything else. But I probably might give it to my friend's daughter as a present. It's still a little bit chilly out there. So, okay. Nearly there. Right, I think that's it. So just give it a little snip. Okay, see? And you bring those two bits together like so. You put this on, which will kind of clip them in. These little bits that I said that you sort of hang on to later. Okay. Yeah, well, it's on. Okay, so there's a little gap here, see? With your scissors, you just snip it around. Ideally with a... Okay, yeah, it's one bit. Get in there. And see that same gap there in between? Just use one of the bits of wool. That'll be enough. You just need enough really to tie round. So you slip it through those bits there. So you can literally stitch it onto the work. You just need a little bit extra on the pom-pom. So you can do that. And then just bring it through just tightly as you can, without snapping it, of course. And then on one, there you go. And then just take these bits off. Like that. That one's almost off. And then you separate it like so. And then like that. And keep those. Hold on to those while you tidy up a little bit and give it a bit of a fluff. So there's lots of little edges that you don't want, and I always just clip and snip them around. Yeah. So what you'll do then with your pom-poms, I've got two, but I'm going to mix a few more, is just put them on one end and then put some other colours on that end. So what I've decided just to do 4 pom-poms to put them on the corners. Okay, so if you just attach it like that using the tails that are left over from when you kind of brought all the threads together, okay, and just make a nice tight stitch, then pull it out like that, and then the other tail, because there would have been two of them, just bring it together and tie it like so. Okay, don't forget to have a look on Molly's Makes on Libraries West's website and under e-magazines. Okay, this pattern is on there, but obviously if you want to make it for an adult, you probably choose a more thicker wool, or you know, I mean, this is just a sample piece, so I'm not worried it's a little bit rough around the edges. So there you go, there's my project finished. I'll catch you next time. Thank you for listening to me today. Goodbye.